So back with us to report more on Klay Thompson is Adrian Wojnarowski. Woj, how close is Klay to returning to the court?
Malika, January is the target now for the Warriors and Klay Thompson, and two key dates to keep an eye on. January 9th against Cleveland, January 18th against Detroit. Both of those games are at home for the Warriors, and the plan is to bring them back with a home game. Now, January 3rd against Miami, I'm told, has not been completely ruled out, but far less likely. And, listen, what Klay Thompson has wanted to do is continue to improve his conditioning. So when he rejoins this team, he's able to go out and really be able to play at the highest possible level and be able to kind of just get on this train moving and not have to just sort of, ease his way back in and use his return to necessarily improve his conditioning.
And I'm sure fans are excited to see him back. The Warriors can't wait, especially having players have gone into COVID protocols this week. Woj, is the plan to bring Klay back slowly once he's available?
Well, it's kind of what they're doing right now, Malika. He's well past the rehab. He has rehabbed the injury. It's really about just being able to play, have the endurance. He went down to Santa Cruz, the Warriors G League affiliate, played 3 scrimmage level games. And, he wants to be able to play significant minutes when he comes back. And so, certainly I think there'll be I would imagine you'll see his minutes go up in increments as he returns. But, part of the plan of waiting until January is that, Klay is able to carry a fairly significant load quickly. That's what he's wanted, and certainly it makes sense to Golden State.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Woj. I do want to take a little bit of a closer look now at Klay Thompson's timeline, how we got here. So he was hurt, remember, in Game 6 of the 2019 Finals. That's where he suffered a torn ACL, and then he missed all of the following season. And then in his recovery process last season, as you can see the timeline right here, that's when Klay tore his Achilles. And that caused him to miss all of last season. And then Klay participated in his first full practice back on November 23rd. That was about a full year after tearing his Achilles. And he spent some time then, as Woj mentioned, with the Warriors G League affiliate in Santa Cruz to rehab. But he's now back with the team. He is ramping up. And joining us now to talk more specifically about Klay Thompson's injury and his recovery is ESPN injury analyst and a licensed physical therapist, Stephania Bell. Thank you so much for stopping by, Stephania. So you spoke to Klay's surgeon. That was Dr. Neil Elatrosh. What are some of the benchmarks that Dr. Elatrosh wanted to see Klay hit that gave him confidence that he's going to be ready to return?
Well, one of the things that Dr. Elatrosh has his elite athletes go through before they are cleared to return to play is a biomechanical assessment. He works with a physical therapist. They use cameras to look at body control. Is the trunk, the hip, the knee angles, are they where they should be when he's landing, when he's changing direction? And they also use it as a psychological assessment of readiness to return. There are force plates in the ground that measure how much loading is that injured leg absorbing. Is the athlete willing to land and push off with the same force that you would expect him to normally use in the uninjured side? And so if those things are sound, that gives you confidence in the readiness to return. And Dr. Elatrosh told me he was 100% confident in Klay's biomechanics.
So it's been a long time, Stephania, since we've seen Klay on the court. And to be exact, it's been since June of 2019. So is Klay more at risk now that he's coming back from 2 injuries than coming back from just 1?
You would think so intuitively, but it's really interesting. And Dr. Elatrosh made this point that at this point, the graft that they use when reconstructing the ACL is biologically fully mature. So you can almost discount the ACL component from this and really just focus on the Achilles itself. And because he went through the process of preparing, he was so close to coming back from that torn ACL, he had gone through all that biomechanical training and really kind of set the tone for his for his Achilles rehab, So I think that the time delay, as difficult as it was for him as an athlete, he went through all the steps for that first injury, and that probably helped him in his recovery process from the Achilles.
That makes sense. And we've talked so much, Stephania, today about the physical side of his rehab. But what about the mental aspect of Klay's recovery?
It's huge. And I think, Malika, that none of us can really appreciate the toll that being away from your job, from your sport that you love for nearly 2 years can take on someone. And I think it's something that we need to do a better job of addressing in therapy and rehab, but I think we're getting there. And so I think this has been an element of the focus of Klay's return. And Dr. Elstons told me, he's got a terrific team around him, that he was very involved in communicating with him along the way. He felt very comfortable with where he was. But Dr. Elstons also pointed out that it's hard to imagine and appreciate what it took for this young man to commit to coming back after 2 years. Some people might have just quit and walked away, but the dedication to persevere through the grind, through the less exciting aspects of rehab, if you will, to be able to come back shows how much he wants to retake his place in the game. He has dedicated himself to this return, and he's very confident that we're going to see a fantastic Klay when he returns. But he does point out, and we should remember, that you can't expect him to necessarily hit the ground and be exactly the athlete he was when he left. It takes getting back into elite competition and doing it on a consistent basis to really have that full return to performance. But he said, look out, by the end of the regular season, I think you're going to be shocked at how good Klay Thompson looks.
Look out. Well, and that's what Adrian Wojnarowski was just telling us, right? Was that the Warriors, they want to see him use some of those early games as a way to kind of continue that ramp-up process. Stephania, thank you so much for spending time with us on NBA Today.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.